Okay, we need Damon. Oh, no, Damon's right there. We can go ahead and get started without John, but let me check it. I'll take a quick peek.
By the way, sorry everybody that we're starting so late. We got stuck in another meeting back there. Jerry just keeps talking, that's the problem. Just kidding, it wasn't.
I'm just too entertaining, what can I tell you? We have another commissioner who will be here, but I think we can go ahead and get started with tonight's meeting. We are starting a tad late, so I don't want to cause anybody any complications on their personal schedule. So, with that, I'd like to call this meeting, the Clay County Commission, to order. We will begin with our invocation. Our person who was going to do the invocation was unable to make it tonight, so I'll go ahead and do that right quick. Please stand. Father, thank you for the blessings that you have bestowed upon us. Thank you for allowing us the ability to have these discussions, heartfelt, sometimes a little bit passionate, but all the same, it is a great honor to be able to serve the people of this county. I also want to ask some degree of guidance when it comes to the violence that has visited our community. Our professional law enforcement people have done a great job of trying to protect us, but we are currently suffering through some unfortunate incidences, and help us to come to some understanding when evil is done to good people. With that, we'll all pray. Amen. Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Nolte?
Here.
Commissioner Withington?
Here.
Commissioner Lawson?
Here.
Commissioner Wagner?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Here.
That brings us to approval of this evening's agenda. Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve tonight's agenda.
Motion's been made to accept this evening's agenda. Discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
That brings us to the first item, that is ceremonial matters. We have 2026-10. I will ask the administrator to introduce that, and then I will go to Commissioner Withington for comments, for initial comments.
Yes, good evening. 2026-10, honorary resolution for the 2025 Kearney High School Bulldogs football team for the winning of the 2025 Missouri High School Championship. That'll be it for the ceremony matters.
Very well. Commissioner Withington, if you'd like to push your button, I will recognize you.
All right, so it says, whereas the Clay County Commission desires to recognize outstanding achievements of local students, educators, and athletic programs that exemplify excellence, discipline, teamwork, and community pride. And whereas on December 6, 2025, the Kearney High School Bulldog football team captured the 2025 Missouri Class 4 Football Championship, marking the program's 6th state title. And whereas the championship represents the 2nd state title under head coach Logan Minnick, who took over the program in 2023, and under his leadership has continued the proud tradition of Bulldog football excellence. And whereas the 2025 championship season stands as a milestone achievement for Coach Minnick's first full senior class, whose leadership, commitment, and belief in the program's values set a foundation for continued success. And whereas the Bulldog program exemplifies its tenet of attitude and effort, driving a culture of accountability, perseverance, and excellence both on and off the field. And whereas individual student athletes were recognized at the highest levels, including Carter Temple, junior quarterback, offensive player of the year, and first team all-state quarterback. Isaac Beaver, senior, defensive player of the year. Coach Logan Minnick, coach of the year. And whereas the Bulldog football team, coaching staff, students, family, and community supporters have brought tremendous pride to Kearney and Clay County through their accomplishments and sportsmanship. Now therefore be it resolved by the Clay County Commission that the commission hereby congratulates and honors the 2025 Kearney High School football team, head coach Logan Minnick, his coaching staff, and all student athletes for their exemplary performance, dedication, in winning the 2025 High School Football State Championship. So thank you, Coach, for being here tonight. With Kearney Mayor Randy Pogue, I went to several of your games this year. You guys beat up on my Winnetonka Griffins again. You guys need to stop doing that. But yeah, thank you for everything you guys do, and thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you very much. Coach, if you would like to come up and make any comments, and this goes for anybody who wishes to address the commission, please come forward to the podium. Make sure the light is on, state your name, and then address the commission. Yeah, there's a button at the base. There you go, Coach. Thank you.
Logan Minnick, head football coach at Kearney High School. I've also got senior Cannon Sholock, senior tight end Cannon Sholock with me. I told him he was going to have to get up here and talk, had him real nervous. But just want to say thank you guys so much. We're so proud to be a part of Clay County. I'm glad we can continue to do this. I love that you talked about the seniors. Cannon, through his 4 years of high school, they went 49-4. So pretty incredible career, pretty amazing, to have 2 state titles in 3 years here. And we've got 15 starters back, so hopefully it's probably not going to look good for Winnetonka next year as well. But we'll do our best to get the young kids in early. But again, just thank you guys so much. Again, we're just unbelievably blessed to be here, and again, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Would the members of the team please stand so that we can applaud you once more, and that way we know who we're clapping for. So if you would like to stand. Any other commissioners? I'm sorry, Commissioner Withington, did you have anything to add before I go to other commissioners?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Would any other commissioners care to comment? Commissioner Johnson.
I just want to say congratulations also to the Kearney Bulldogs. Six state champions, that's quite a bit. I tell you, if you guys ever played Notre Dame, I'd put my money on you guys to beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's because USC can't beat Notre Dame.
Okay. With that, please come forward. Commissioner Withington, you have the proclamation, and we'll get a few pictures, and then we will kind of go from there. Okay. Thank you very much again. With that ends ceremonial matters. That brings us to public comments. Those are times when citizens can come forward and address the commission on any subject important to them. However, as these are going to be, they could be subjects that are not noticed, we can listen, but interactions of any substantive form would be against the rules, so we can certainly want to hear what is to be said. So is there anyone who wishes to comment under public comments? Yes, please come forward, and like I say, make sure the light is on, state your name, and then address your comments to the commission, please. There you go.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Michelle Anaya. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Oh, could you speak just a little bit more in the mic so we can hear you better?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
While I am not a county resident, my brother is under the authority of this county through guardianship and placement decisions, and I am here as his sister and longstanding advocate. I am here to raise concerns about how systems intended to protect vulnerable adults can, in practice, result in isolation, loss of voice, and separation from those who care about them most. My concern is deeply personal. My brother has been institutionalized for nearly 20 years, placed more than 4.5 hours away from both his legal guardian and from family who know him well. During this time, he lost contact with nearly everyone who loved him, including parents who've passed and extended family, without meaningful opportunities for advocacy or review. This isolation has had lasting consequences on his health, dignity, and quality of life. When I requested involvement in his care, I was met with false accusations that prevented meaningful participation. This illustrates why transparency, oversight, and accountability are essential. At present, there appears to be limited independent oversight and transparency regarding the Public Administrator's Office. For families, the only avenue for review is through the court system, a process that is financially and emotionally prohibitive, often requiring years of litigation and tens of thousands of dollars, making accountability effectively inaccessible. I respectfully ask the county to consider establishing a clear, accessible pathway for families and advocates to raise concerns and requests reviews outside of prolonged and costly litigation. These concerns reflect broader federal findings. In 2024, the U.S. Department of Justice concluded that Missouri does not consistently provide adults with disability services in the most integrated, least restrictive setting, relying too heavily on institutional placements and guardianship. My brother's experience suggests the same concerns may be present at the local level. Federal law, including the Olmstead decision, reinforces this requirement. These are not abstract policy issues. They involve county courts, county-appointed roles, and county-funded placements that directly affect whether people are afforded connection, autonomy, and a meaningful life within their own community. As a person of faith, I believe Jesus consistently calls us to care for those who are marginalized and overlooked, and to love others as we love ourselves. My faith also teaches that belief must be accompanied by action, that compassion is shown not only in words, but in what we do. I raise these concerns in that same spirit, not to accuse, but to ask for our system to reflect care, dignity, and responsibility for those who cannot advocate for themselves. I respectfully ask this commission to review local oversight practices related to guardianships and placements, to increase transparency, and to ensure county systems align with federal expectations regarding least restrictive environments and meaningful accountability. Thank you for your time and your service to this county. May the Lord bless you all.
Thank you very much. Are there any other citizens wishing to come forward to address the commission?
Hello. Thank you guys for allowing me to speak. My name is Lakeisha. I'm speaking to you both as a day program manager and as someone who's been personally impacted by the systems we rely on to support people with disabilities. Professionally, I am trained to believe in person-centered care. We talk about choice, dignity, and community inclusion. When we are taught that outcomes improve when individuals have strong, consistent support systems, family, friends, and advocates who truly know them. Personally, I have a friend of over 20 years who currently lives in a state facility. He has people who know him well, who care deeply about him, and who would show up consistently. Yet these systems does not allow these people, myself included, to advocate for him in meaningful ways. This is what hurts the most. This is not a situation where support does not exist. Support exists, advocacy exists, love exists. The problem is the system does not recognize it or allow it. Because of guardianship structures, custody rules and institutional policies, my friend's voice is filtered, sometimes completely lost. People who have known him for decades cannot speak up when something feels wrong, cannot participate in planning, and cannot ensure accountability. The system decides who's allowed to care, and in doing so, it often excludes the people who care the most. As a day program manager, I see every day how critical natural supports are. When individuals have people who know their history, their triggers, their joys, their fears, outcomes are better. When these connections are removed or ignored, individuals become isolated, behaviors increase, and decisions are made about them rather than for them. We would never design a system for ourselves that cuts us off from the people who know us best. Yet we routinely accept this outcome for people with disabilities. What's especially painful is knowing that I have the training, the experience, the commitment to advocate for my friend, and still I'm powerless. Not because I lack insight or dedication, but because the system does not make room for informal advocates, chosen family, or long-term relationships. Support systems should not end where paperwork begins. I'm asking Clay County to look critically at how advocacy is defined and who is allowed to participate, to consider how guardianship placement and facility policies can unintentionally silence individuals by silencing the people around them, and to explore ways to formally recognize trusted advocates beyond legal titles. Because people with disabilities do not stop needing community simply because they enter a system. If anything, that's when they need it the most. This isn't just a professional concern for me, this is personal, and I hope we can work toward a system that values human connection as much as compliance. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens wishing to come forward to speak? Excuse me, before you come up, are there any other citizens, I'm trying to kind of manage the time. How many other people would like to come up and speak on this, or any matter for that matter? There's one in the back. Okay, good. I just want to make sure that we give everybody the opportunity to speak. So, yes, ma'am, you would be next.
I brought some
Oh, go ahead and use the microphone. That way we will have the recording. Go ahead and state your name, and then go ahead with your statement, please.
Okay. My name is Rita Richards, and I've been a special education teacher for 25 years, teaching and advocating for teens and young adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. I come to you today to express grave concerns regarding the care, safety, and oversight of individuals under the guardianship of the Clay County Public Administrator, and specifically as it relates to one of my former students named Zach. In 2014, Zach was removed from his home and became a ward of the Clay County Public Administrator. When he was not allowed to see his family, my husband and I made a personal commitment to remain a consistent, stabilizing presence in his life. For years, we saw Zach at least twice a month, maintained his connection with former classmates, and included him in our family life. He spent Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, 4th of July. We threw birthday parties for him and his friends, and he just literally became a part of our family. There were two memories that stand out. On July 4th, is the 4th of July, 2018, during a picnic, and we had a water balloon flight, Zach spontaneously said, "This is my family. I love my family." His words reflected not only affection, but a sense of safety and belonging. Then, on Christmas 2018, Zach purchased a ring for his mother, his grandmother, and for me. This gift represents where Zach holds me in his heart. While spending so much time with Zach, I began to observe issues that raised serious concerns and neglect and lack of autism-informed care. There were several issues, such as weight loss, medicine not administered on time, and at times a lack of food. And my husband and I brought groceries to where he lived. And he had constant bad breath accompanied by bleeding gums. But the most alarming concern was the danger that Zach was exposed to. The public administrator contracts a provider for his housing and daily care to an agency called Lives Without Limits, and they have failed to keep Zach safe from his roommate, Aaron, who attempted to stab Zach with a screwdriver in June of 2019. This was the breaking point when my husband and I hired an attorney, and the public administrator restricted me from visiting Zach and moved him to another county. Even though I had been his teacher for 4 years, I knew him well. As a special education teacher, I was an expert in autism and how people with disabilities need to be cared for and the autonomy that they need and should be given. Then, the thing that I was trying to keep from happening happened. March 2025, I learned from a TV news report that Zach had been stabbed 7 times with a 10-inch kitchen knife by the same roommate, Aaron. And I have a copy of the probable cause police report. It's in with these books that I brought. The books are to help educate about guardianship and the restrictions that it has, and that probable cause statement is in there also. I will say that Zach did survive the stabbing. And we believe the guardian has neglected to keep Zach safe for the last 10 years. Here's a timeline. May 2015, Zach and Aaron become roommates in the Lives Without Limits home. February 2016, the public administrator and Lives Without Limits separated the 2 young men because Aaron was too aggressive with Zach. Despite this, in July 2017, public administrator and Lives Without Limits moved Aaron back in with Zach. In June 2019 is when Aaron attempted to stab Zach with a screwdriver. He did not stab Zach, but he plunged that screwdriver into the staff person's windshield, shattering it. That's a lot of force. This incident led to Zach being hospitalized and on a suicide watch. Despite this, the public administrator continued to keep Zach and Aaron as roommates and in the care of Lives Without Limits and moved them to Jackson County. Even though a ward is moved to another county or 6 hours away from here, they are still under Clay County guardianship. And lastly, the March 2025 stabbing of Zach by Aaron 7 times with a 10-inch kitchen knife. Despite all these incidents, the public administrator and the assistant public administrator have chosen to keep the responsibility for Zach's day-to-day care with the provider, Lives Without Limits, and restricted me from visiting him. I have emailed the current public administrator monthly for over 3 years, and I've requested supervised visits. Over those 3 years, I've sent 33 emails, and I've had 0 responses. This is not about personal hurt. This is about a pattern of neglect without meaningful oversight and the lack of response when families and loved ones raise concerns. Zach's service coordinator, Center for Human Services, filed a due process complaint back in 2021 with the Department of Health through the Kansas City Regional Office. The Due Process Committee found that Zach's rights were being violated in several areas. The public administrator did not follow through with the recommendations of the due process findings because I found out later the Department of Mental Health has no authority over the public administrator to make them comply. Again, no oversight of the public administrator. And I've given you a copy here and there of the due process findings from the Kansas City Regional Office. I have documented a pattern of neglect, a lack of oversight, retaliation against an advocate, and systematic failures to keep Zach safe. And Zach is not the only one to suffer from these systematic failures. You've heard from 2 speakers previously. And yet there's another family here tonight who has been traumatized by the lack of action and poor care by the public administrator, but they are too upset and they are afraid of retaliation to address you this evening. I am respectfully requesting the Clay County Commissioners to act. 1, a formal review of oversight and accountability and complaint response procedures related to the Public Administrator's Office. 2, an examination of the county's role in approving and monitoring providers such as Lives Without Limits, who serve the public administrators' wards and who they have. And 3, a public forum or a mechanism for families and educators and advocates to raise concerns and receive answers without fear of retaliation. Clarification, and 4, clarification of how the commission ensures the safety and well-being of wards when the public administrator is unelected and effectively insulated from external review, as I found out with Kansas City Regional Office. Zach's survival should not be the end of this story. It should be the beginning of accountability. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter.
If you could just hold on for a moment. Commissioner Johnson, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Just real quick, you were denied visitations with Zach. Were you ever given a reason why?
No, and in that KCRO due process hearing, the public administrator did not attend that meeting. Instead, they sent the provider from Lives Without Limits. And in that paper I've given you, it states that there was no reason to deny me visitation, that there was not a threat. And also, even though the public administrator, one time when I went to see Zach, said that she had issued a paper and had mailed it to me saying I was no longer allowed visitation and that she had sent it to my attorney, to this day, that paper, nothing was filed. Nothing was filed. I think they were trying to intimidate me.
And no one ever told you, even verbally, why?
In the KCRO due process, they made some allegations, and I was able to refute those, and I had evidence that none of that was there. Okay. And that's in the part of the due process thing that I've given you.
Commissioner Withington?
Thank you guys for coming. I know when you guys reached out to me back in August of '24 regarding this, you wanted to see Zach on his birthday, and she wouldn't reach, I had reached out to the public administrator for you, and the only response I got was, thank you for reaching out. That was it. So, but my question is, Damon, Kevin, is there anything that we can do as a commission for this?
We would be pretty restricted. I mean, obviously, these are court cases, and the probate court circuit judge is the one who oversees these cases. Without knowing any more specifics about an individual case, I wouldn't want to comment on an individual case involving a guardian in a ward. But yeah, for the most part, it's going to be a court matter. Obviously, this body oversees the public administrator's office. Public administrator is a county employee. So certainly there is that oversight of the office.
Okay.
The commission has an obligation to all of its citizens, even if they do not have a voice and they have disabilities.
So then, Kevin, what would be a next step for this commission to take to look into matters like this?
I would probably say for staff to Damon and or myself to reach out to the public administrator and get more information about this specific case, because obviously for most everybody, this is the first time we're hearing of it.
Yes.
It's also not this case.
It's multiple. I would like to add.
Hold on a second. Okay, we have the lady who has been speaking is recognized. We can pretty much, if we can keep it to one person at a time, that way we can make sure that everybody has the ability to make their point. Ma'am, if you would like to, do you have further comment?
Well, and this is a matter for the commissioners because the county funds and approves the public administrator. Commissioners have oversight responsibility for county administrative functions in ensuring resident safety. And when it comes to individual cases, I'm asking for policy review and improved response procedures. I don't want this limited to the one case I've cited. There are several other cases as we've been able to determine here tonight.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. I just want to clarify so everyone understands, and forgive me if I'm sounding too remedial on this, but there is a difference between a public administrator and a county administrator.
Yes.
That's the county administrator right
Yes.
there. That's who we hire or
Yes.
responsible. Okay, I want to make sure I wouldn't do that because I was even confused with that at first. There's a county administrator, there's a public administrator, they're two different
Right.
things. All right, thanks.
I understand that, yes.
There are three of you standing there, so I need to know who I need to recognize. You have the floor, ma'am, so I mean, until you relinquish it, I'm reluctant to recognize another speaker. So do you have
Okay.
anything else to add?
I would just ask just to show the commissioners how important this is to the people of Clay County. I would ask all of those that are concerned about public administrator guardianship in our county to please stand, just a show of support that you came here. You came here tonight because this is a concern of several people in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see two individuals here. The lady, I think you've already spoken. I would, before we do any repeated comments, unless you have something, point of clarification, I want to make sure everybody has at least one shot to speak. So do you have a point of clarification, or were you going to start onto a new part of the discussion?
No, just clarification. I heard that the judge was mentioned, and like Ms. Rita had mentioned, this isn't about one particular case.
Mike.
Sorry.
There you go. Thank you.
Like, I heard the judge mentioned, and I wanted to add that I've reached out to the judge, and like I had mentioned in my comments, we were given the answer to simply basically go to court, and that's just not accessible for everyone. And we need to be able to raise concerns outside of litigation. Not everything needs to go through court. And just like Ms. Rita touched on, this isn't about one individual. It's about Clay County as a whole. We have no idea. There's several of us here, different families, different individuals that this is affected, and there's no telling who else may be affected as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, there was also a lady who had raised her hand in the back. I want to kind of keep everybody in order as they were recognized. If we could do that, and then, sir, if you would come follow her. And then, Representative, were you interested in speaking? Very briefly. Okay, you will be after citizens.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Tina Harvey. I am a parent of a special needs child. Excuse me. First off, I would like to commend the public administrator and their staff for what they must feel is an overwhelming job they have to oversee the wards placed in their care. Like other jobs dealing with special needs, they are overworked, understaffed, and underpaid. And unlike those of us who were blessed to give birth to a special needs child, they chose this profession. So they should be commended. And having said that, it seems at times that the public administrator and staff respond to family and friends requesting contact or reporting a concern regarding a ward as an attack on their job performance. And then they circle the wagons to remove that concerned person out of that ward's life. I wish it was an exception to the rule, but more and more of these instances are being reported, not only in Clay County, but in Missouri, across Missouri and across the United States. It's got to stop. Concerns from family, friends, or anyone in general should be welcomed and appreciated as a way to provide great care and oversight. And oversight, you've heard people say over and over, there's a need for this. The goal for all wards should be to encourage family and friends' involvement in their life, and above all, a safe environment. If supervised visits are necessary to confirm the ward is safe in that company, then that should be encouraged as well and allowed, and then hopefully progressing to non-supervised visits. We as parents and as any concerned citizen do not want these persons to be forgotten. But in some cases, it feels as if the public administrator office would prefer we all return to a time not that long ago when special needs adults and children were placed in a sanitarium, and then the parents and families were told to forget that they exist. And I know this happened in my family to a couple of family members, so I know that that happened. And again, it was not that long ago. I hope there are some improvements to encourage family and friends into these people's lives. The relationships are critical to every person's life, including yours and mine. If you think about how your life would be affected if you were drastically taken away from everybody that you knew in your life and felt like you just were forgotten, basically. That's the biggest fear I have for my son. But thank you for your time.
Thank you. The gentleman with the vest, I think you were next.
Yes, thank you for listening to us tonight. My name is Ron Richards. Rita's my wife. And we are here because we want to help. We want to see our county do better. There are many great counties that do a good job in public administration. We want this county to be one of those, to become better. The material here is suggestive resource that could help with that. The past is the past. We tried to reset the button with the public administrator, and the response was zero. So we have to voice it somewhere. And it's just not this county. We're aware that it's many other counties. My wife gets calls all the time because they heard her story. And the stories are horrendous, what's happened in some of the surrounding counties. So we appreciate your ear, and we just pray that you are listening, and we appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any, I want to go to the representative, but I want to make sure that that citizens, obviously, and the representative certainly understands this, citizens are always first. So are there any other citizens who would like to? Yes, I'm sorry.
I can go after Chris, though.
Good evening, Commission. Jennifer Justice. I would just tie this back into the County Commission review. The Public Administrator's Office did used to be an elected office. We're going to discuss this evening the constitutional review. For anyone that may be interested in that because they're here this evening, that would be an issue specifically that this review committee could take up, that this office be elected. It could be an unintended consequence of what was decided in the Constitution that this particular event unfortunately is happening, because as we know, elections are a way for checks and balances, and the intent was to make the office a professionally ran office. And based on the stories that are being told this evening that apparently have been documented, I'm certainly no judge, it sounds like maybe there was some unintended consequences of trying to make an office professional. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Withington, did you, we do need to move this along, but this is, I would like to emphasize, these are public comments. If you have a clarification, that would be certainly in order, but this is a time for citizens to express themselves.
I had a clarification.
Thank
So
you.
I was going to say just what Jennifer said, that, that's one reason why I was against the county constitution, was because getting rid of elected officials. I know Jennifer was on the Constitution Committee that made that an appointed position, but I think that's definitely something that needs to be reviewed. So.
I think that would be an appropriate discussion to have when that item comes up. That was not clarification, though. Representative, would you please come forward?
Yes. For the record, Chris Brown, Clay County citizen, current member of the Missouri House of Representatives, representing District 16. Presiding Commissioner, Commissioners, thank you for time and opportunity tonight. I come without a prepared text, nor was I going to speak tonight, but listening to my friend Rita, who I've known for 20, 30 years or so, I just wanted to come up and ask for two things. My first ask would be, and I've been following Rita's dilemma with Clay County for years now, it seems like, but my first ask would be, is for this commission maybe to look into the role of the public administrator in terms of the overall governance of Clay County and how that office is structured. It does seem to me, and I've kind of looked at this for a while with Rita's case, that maybe there is some transparency issues and a little accountability and who really has oversight over the public administrator, and is that being exercised as well as what it should be. So that would be my ask. That's ask number one. And I know that there are some folks in the room that have their individual issues with the public administrator and maybe some relatives that are wards of the county, et cetera, but I've followed Rita's case for a long time. My second ask would be for this commission, maybe to, with the help of the public administrator, look into Rita's case with Zach. I mean, Rita exemplifies, in my opinion, exactly what the commission, the public administrator, Clay County want from our citizens, to take an active role in folks that are guardians of our county. And I just remember seeing, so many pictures and whatnot of Rita just basically, and Ron, welcoming this young man into their household, into their life. And it's my assumption that that was probably the highlight of this young man's life. And I'm not sure exactly what happened with their family, the public administrator, but the bottom line is, at the very least, it's a disservice to Zach and to Rita that this relationship has not been allowed to continue. So, again, my two asks, maybe look into the role of the public administrator and some accountability and oversight issues there. And again, I know there's a lot of deserving folks here that want the public administrator's attention and yours. I really only know one personally, and of course that is Rita. If you could look into that, I would greatly appreciate it. So thank you again for your time.
Before we, are there any other comments to be made from the public? Victor? Excuse me, Mr. Auditor, I apologize.
Good evening, Victor Hurlbert, Clay County Auditor. I just wanted to take a moment here, wanted to explain, because of a lot of the voices that you see tonight, I've heard similar complaints in my office. As you recall, I performed a performance audit at the end of 2024, and it was issued in early 2025, in a lot of respect because of many of these complaints that we've heard. And I just wanted to briefly review that with you. I think not only the issues here in Clay County, but also statewide. As was referenced, United States Department of Justice was mentioned, did issue their own audit and finding of the state of Missouri that we have a statewide problem in Missouri. There's a tendency with the public administrator system to default to a skilled nursing facility. We didn't find that to be the automatic case in Clay County. What we did find, though, if you recall, that just some quick statistics, you have roughly, 2/3 of the wards, about 300 or so wards in Clay County, outside of Clay County is where they are currently residing. So as it relates to being able to visit those folks, that would, present an automatic problem. And that is a result of just lack of availability of appropriate facilities for those individuals. Half of the wards are outside the Kansas City metro, and 1/3 are outside of the broader region, as it's defined under the public administrator system in the state of Missouri. So I brought that to attention. One of the main findings of that audit, and it's available publicly on the website for all those to view, is essentially that a lot of what you heard tonight, there is a lack of documentation as to how location is determined. In a lot of cases, it's a referral from a source, be it a hospital, a family member, et cetera, as to where that location is done. But how are those locations vetted beforehand? And the recommendation from the audit is that go through a process basically to establish that this is, in fact, according to the statute, the best and least restrictive location, and document it. So we believe that currently isn't being done. To the public administrator's defense and fairness, they did commit in writing in response to that audit that they would better document their processes to be able to do that. But we heard a lot of good ideas here as well that might warrant the need for a follow-up of that audit as far as a informal forum to basically add to the legal process. That's something I'm very interested in looking to what are the best practices in the industry that we could look into for that, as well as appropriate reporting. One of the outcomes of the audit, we found that some of the annual reports weren't being done, and we had an employee actually leave, and that had been remedied as well. So I just wanted to add that as Clay County Auditor's Office, I don't think there's ever been a county audit of the guardianship aspect in the state of Missouri, and so I was glad to do that. It's something I care about, and I hear these concerns, and so I'm happy to follow up on that and continue addressing this issue. But I would just encourage the commission and others to look at that report. Thank you.
Commissioner Lawson, you have a point of clarification.
Just a question, I guess, for you and for our administrator and for the attorney. So with all that has been said,
In your mic a little bit more.
can you hear me? With all that has been said, can I have some assurance that there is a way that we can look into some of this, see what's valid, see how we can help? If I'm sitting here approving money that goes there, or it's county money that's going there, I want to know that it's being spent properly. I want to know that those individuals are cared for properly, because one of these days, one of us might have somebody that's there. We want to know that they're cared for just in the same way that these folks want to see their people cared for. So I don't want this to drop when everybody walks away. I want to know that something's being done, and I'd like to be kept in the loop of what's being done. And you know, if there's something that we need to do, if there's some action we need to take, then tell us what we need to do legally, so we can participate in getting this corrected. This is heart-wrenching.
Mr. Counselor, I'd like you to go ahead and be the first one to respond, because once again, I realize that there are two limitations we have. One is, obviously, we cannot comment on an ongoing adjudicated case. Secondarily, I know that we are here to hear the public. We're not here to engage in a long-term discussion. That would be more appropriate as a noticed issue where we could all be prepared to discuss it. With that, would you please proceed?
Sure, and just so, Commissioner, I can tell you that while we've been here in the last 5 minutes, I've set a meeting for tomorrow with someone that is the right person for me to talk to about this. So.
And by the way, Commissioner Lawson, one of us does have that position as far as someone in their family.
Yeah.
So, yes, meaning me.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to come forward? Any other public comments to be made? Very well. That will close our public comments. Thank you very much for that information. That brings us to our consent agenda. Mr. Administrator.
Move forward.
Yes, please.
Yes, good evening.
Go ahead with the consent agenda, Mr. Administrator.
All right. We have 5 items on the consent agenda tonight. 2026-15 is approval of invoices, payments for Clay County from the period of January 1st through January 9th of 2026. The number of invoices is 203, and the amount of $1,104,982.32. Our next one is approval of 2026-11, approve and sign of
Excuse me, Mr.
2025
Administrator.
financial statements.
Just a moment. Could everybody please, who is getting ready to leave, could you take your conversations outside and keep the volume down so that we can continue with our meeting, please? Thank you very much. We appreciate you being here. Continue, Mr. Administrator.
Uh, 2026 and number 11. Approve and sign of a 2025 financial statements audit engagement letter with Hood and Associates CPAs for the Auditor's Office. 2026-12 is approval of Form 4379 and Form 379A for TIF calculations for Missouri Department of Revenue through the Auditor's Office. 2026-14 is reappointment to the Board of Equalization Commission, James Rucker, for the term This reappointment shall expire December 31st, 2028.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Motion's been made for the approval of this evening's consent agenda. Discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
That brings us to our regular agenda. First item on our regular agenda is
Yes, we have
2026-03.
two items tonight on our regular agenda. The first one is 2026-03, approval of invoice payments for Clay County Prosecutor's Office for the period of December 13th to the period of December 31st of 2025. A total of 13 invoices totaling $9,883.67. Oh, one second, that is the wrong one.
I'm sorry,
That's
did you?
correct. That's correct.
Is that correct?
That's
Okay,
correct.
thank you, sir. Discussion? Commissioner Johnson, did you have a motion?
What did you say the total was?
$9,883.67.
Move to approve 2026-03.
Motion's been made for the approval of 2026-03. Discussion? Seeing none, you're recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Johnson?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
I recuse myself.
Motion passes 5 in favor, 1 recusal.
Next and final item on this evening's regular agenda is 2026-16. Mr. Administrator?
Yes, 2026-16, approval of invoice payments for Clay County Prosecutor's Office from the period of January 1st to the period of January 9th, 2026. A total of 1 invoice totaling $417.
Commissioner Johnson?
Move to approve 2026-16.
Motion been made for the approval of 2026-16. Discussion? Seeing none, you're recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
I recuse myself.
Motion passes 5 in favor, 1 recusal.
That brings us to our discussion items. We have one discussion item, Mr. Administrator, and that is the Clay County Constitution Review Commission. And
Sure.
if you could kind of give us an idea of, because it's a rather large subject, are we wanting to focus in a certain manner? You kind of introduce the discussion and how you would see us proceeding.
Sure. I guess we'll actually be a tag team on this one. Myself and our county attorney will work on this, Kevin. Ultimately, requirement of the Constitution is create a Constitutional Review Committee. That committee has to be in place by February 15th of 2026. I won't steal the rest of that. I will let him explain additional information regarding that one as far as the criteria, and then I'll come back and fill in about what our next steps will be regarding that.
Perfect. Thank you, Commission. So again, tonight, the point tonight is to talk about appointing the commission. It's not to start necessarily a conversation about how we want to change the Constitution. It's about appointing the commission. They will have a process in which we can be active participant in that as well. But so the way it works is by February 15th, we need to appoint 7 members. Those 7 members at least 3 have to come from each county district, at least 3 from the eastern, at least 3 from the western. There are several requirements that you need to consider. And I probably should preface this by saying, ultimately, what we're going to ask is that each of you nominate someone. That will be our 7. The commission, this commission will, whatever time frame we agree on, but by February 15th, we'll appoint that body. That body within 30 days will meet. That body within 90 days of their first meeting has to submit their proposed changes, if any, for the voters to consider at the next election. Depending on when they do that, that could be August or November, likely November, but could be August if they're very aggressive and quick. There are some requirements for you to consider on your appointments. They have to be a registered voter. They have to be a resident of the county for 2 years, and they have to be a resident of their district for at least 1 year. They cannot be an employee, vendor, or have a contractual relationship with the county. They cannot be related to an an elected officer of Clay County or the county administrator within a certain degree, and they cannot have served on the previous review commission, and there was one about 4 years ago that set boundaries. And I have that list. I can hand them out to you, or I can just tell you who they are, or I can do both. But ultimately, that's what we're looking for, is to have a conversation about this requirement, when it needs to be done by, and kind of lay out a schedule so that you guys can all meet that deadline.
To add to that one, and we'll provide that information about the previous commission, we also have created a one-pager, actually ended up being 2 pages, but to provide to you all so everyone have the same criteria as they talk to their potential candidate. One of the things we want to make sure is everyone understands not only this is a volunteer, but the time that will be spent. 90 days is not a whole lot of time, but it is a requirement based off the Constitution. So we want to make sure those items as well are communicated. That will be provided to you within your packets that we'll make sure we email out to each of you so you'll have it in due time. We're looking at that going forward next week. As far as time frame, we're looking at potentially coming back and having those names. The hope would be maybe the 29th, and then follow up with a approval on the following one, which would be the 5th of February, meaning the fact that we don't have a meeting on the 12th. Does not mean you cannot call a meeting if you so desire, if you feel like that's necessary, but looking at the time constraints, that's what we have.
One other question, and then I will open up for the discussion. So you are looking for consensus from us this evening. Could you be specific so that we can make sure that we give you what it is you need to keep us moving forward? What kind of a consensus direction is it to basically approve the process outlined? Or what are you asking this commission to basically give you direction on with a little bit more specificity, because we do have a deadline?
I think it's twofold. The primary reason tonight is to let you know this process is moving forward and to explain the process to you. And we certainly don't need consensus on that. The second part is just everybody understands, again, that the preferred approach is each commissioner gets one pick, and that you understand what those requirements are for the qualifications, and that we would ask that everyone have their pick in by the 29th. By the 29th, and we would probably have like a first discussion about it then, and we would approve it by resolution, by vote on the 5th. So as long as everybody is agreeable with that, that's what we would ask.
So February 29 is what you're...
January 29th.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of, yeah, that would certainly blow through that deadline. So January 29th, you want to have them in by that date, whoever would be nominated by each commissioner, assuming we go that route?
Actually, I think a couple days before, so that we could have them discussed and brought forward on the 29th.
That was kind of where I was going with that.
Maybe at least 2 days before, by the 27th.
The other thing that I would suggest to commissioners, should we go that route, it might not be a bad idea to have both an A and a B selection in case there was some reason. I would encourage commissioners to have an alternate just for the sake of being able to move forward as expeditiously as possible. So with that comment, Commissioner Lawson, I believe you were the first to seek recognition.
Yeah, I was really surprised when that first group came up and we changed the government procedures. I think that I'm going to be real frank among our friends here. I think that there were a lot of lousy stuff that came back on that thing. I think there were some wonderful things that came through on that. And I would say the guidelines for who we name sounds pretty good and pretty concise. And I think we probably all sit here and have a couple of people that pop into our mind that we feel are really responsible individuals who would have no personal gain in what is done. And I think that's the most important thing, that we have someone, when we choose, that is someone who puts the county's best interest at heart, not their own best interest at heart. Because we know there's people out there that are that way, and that's the way it's going to be. But I'm really excited about this. And I hope that, will we have the opportunity to highlight some of the things we have grave concerns about within the document itself?
So understand that these meetings that will take place by this body will be public. So anybody can come and address them. And I certainly would suggest, if I had a conversation with them, that they might, invite office holders and department heads so that they can educate themselves about the various functions of the county.
Great, because I think that's going to be very important, that some of, Jay said it, I think it was Jay that said it, or Jason. Right now, there are departments, we've got great department heads, and I say it all the time, we've got great staff, love them all. But when you are an office holder and you know that how your department runs, you are answerable to the people of Clay County. Otherwise, like say our auditor, he does a phenomenal job. When he runs for office, nobody wants to run against him because he's so damn good at what he does. So, but when you got a department head that maybe may not be as good, or, doesn't have the knowledge maybe we'd like him to have, if you had someone who was elected, they do their job 100,000%, because come 4 years, they're going to have to stand up to the public and say, I did this, and yeah, it turned out lousy, but are they going to reelect them? We would hope not. So I'd like to see the real strong look at some of that stuff. And I hope that when the time comes, we can bring that forward. And we would include office holders. We would include department heads. Let them come and say what they think and, what they'd like to see, because they're an integral part of this, and they give the best service to our constituents out there. So they should be answerable. And boy, we've got to be so cautious about this time around. I hope whatever choices we make are good ones, and I hope what they look at changing are valid options.
And just parenthetically, I believe the process last time when the original board was named, I think that was named by the judiciary. Is that correct, Mr. Counselor?
What's that?
The original county
right.
commission.
Yeah.
County Constitution Commission. This is a variation from that, so I just wanted to make sure that was. I actually kind of. I think we've got a variety of ways to go about this. Commissioner Withington, you're recognized.
Yeah, no, I agree with Thomas Jefferson of our county over here, Kevin Graham, who wrote this thing, I think every commissioner should pick one, so I'm good with that. So I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
He is. He stayed up all night writing this thing.
Did you bring your feather quill pen?
It was actually James Madison that wrote the Constitution.
Well, you know what I mean. Whatever. Did you wear your powder, your wig and everything?
I'd like to bring up a process-orientated part of this issue, and that is, are we going to, because we do want to make sure that they're qualified, so are we going to adjust our online application process? And that way, I think it would be helpful to know which commissioner was nominating which person. That way we kind of have a good idea of what's going on, and that way also, if there's a commissioner who nominates somebody unfamiliar to the rest of us, there's the opportunity to do a little bit of homework in advance and make sure that we understand how we are casting our vote. So could you address that, please?
Sure. As far as creating an application is what we'll do, the job form, that will line out the items that's required for them. As far as the criteria of those, that can be applicants. We could add things like, what is your history within Clay County and why would you want to be on this commission? That might be 2 questions you could add, but it's pretty restrictive as far as what the requirements are. Ultimately, what weeds you out is if you are, if you can to one of us, things of that sort. So, but we could add that question to it.
And Mr. Counselor, on the qualifications, and I'm sorry if I didn't, if I missed this, on the other applications for boards and commissions, there's a question about being current on property taxes. Would that also be included if it's not enumerated in the Constitution for qualifications for this particular one? I didn't catch whether that was included or not, but I think that is a relevant question myself.
Well, it is not a requirement of the Constitution, but of course, the commission can consider more than just what's in the Constitution when they're selecting somebody.
I think it may not be a disqualifying event. However, I think that it would be something that, as we consider people who would like to serve, that would be something I think that we would all want to make sure we had some consideration of. I think, by and large, I think it's a moot point in that I think anybody nominated by any one of the commissioners on this body would certainly have made sure that that was the case, but I'm just trying to think through it a little bit and kind of get all the boxes checked before we got too far down the road. Commissioner Lawson, you were next.
I guess I got a question here. So each of us get to pick someone. So Jay Johnson picks a guy he's known for years. The guy's got phenomenal qualifications and upfront individual. So he names him. Then do we come through and say, we're not sure about your guy? If he names him, is the guy in? Or do we have to all approve his guy?
Ultimately, there will be a vote to approve a slate of 7. So that's what we did last time, is one vote to approve the slate of 7. So yes, that there would be one vote to do that. Is there a way to imagine that someone might be so unacceptable to the body that they wouldn't get selected? I guess, certainly. But,
I doubt that.
But that would be highly unlikely.
Yeah, and because each of us has that responsibility to select someone we feel has values and intelligence and all the rest of the qualifications we want. So I'm not going to go out there and find some schmuck on the street and put his name in. I'm going to nominate someone I know well who is well qualified. So I can't, I don't know.
Commissioner Wagner.
As usual.
Thank you. So my question is really more of how that information is conveyed to the administrator, and then how you verify what has been required. So I tend to think, by nature of the speed at which we need to move and in some respects the familiarity we will have with whomever we bring forward, that, I'm not expecting to tell someone, go on the website and put your name in. That seems a little much. But nevertheless, there are some requirements that are there. And so even though I may think that the schmuck that I choose may probably fits into these categories, I guess my question then becomes, are we to verify that in some fashion? And if we are to verify that in some fashion, what would be suggested that I tell someone that I wish to nominate, get this information and get it over to the county? It's kind of a procedural thing, but I would like to think that we're going to verify that everyone we choose actually fits. I mean, this is a low bar. This is really a low bar.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, it's a bar. So how do you suggest, and if you don't have an answer today, that's fine, but I assume we are going to want to say, yeah, this person meets all these criteria.
Yeah, I agree that we need to do that. And to be honest, we could do a very simple document that specifically addresses these criteria, just so that we might even just interview them over the phone. Where do you live? Do you have any pending contracts with the county? Are you related to anybody? We'll know if they served before, obviously. So yeah, it's a very low bar. Probably the only one that I think is that we need to make sure everybody understands is 2 years resident, 2 years registered voter, 1 year within the district. So somebody who's been a 40-year resident of the county, but if they just happened to move in the last year, would be disqualified, arguably from both. if they just,
Yeah.
anybody that moved in the last year, I think would be disqualified under that. So, yeah.
Well, I just would like to be able to give everything to a potential appointment once instead of, right? So I guess to the extent that the both of you can expeditiously, or maybe you've already created, well, you said there was you've got a document.
We did a one-pager, includes all the criteria, what it would take.
Yeah.
Other thing we're going to plan to do is provide a map so people know your Eastern District, Western District.
Yeah.
Send that to each of you individually, along with now the application, which would include the different items regarding that one, mark off, or you're not getting to someone, things like that. So some of the things you're going to have to certify yourself.
Yeah.
And the other one you asked is what could help with that? And maybe you guys can decide tonight if you would like to see on that question is why would you like to serve on this, or why do you believe you should serve? Maybe those questions. That was the only other question I wanted to see from you guys, what you wanted to see on that one.
Well,
but our plan is to send each of you that one packet to each of you individually, and you can share that with the person or persons.
Yeah.
Going back to Commissioner Nolte's request of maybe A and B selection, I would say to let them know that it will be a vetting process. Someone would probably talk, and going back to the county attorneys, that is one vote for everyone together as one swoop is what you did before, because that could be a scenario as well.
Sure.
So,
Well, since I got the mic, I'll just add this one thought to the question you asked. If we should ask, why do you want to serve? I have a feeling the answer will be something to the effect of, the commissioner who called me thought I'd do a good job. So, so I'm not sure if that will yield a lot.
I agree with you. I'm not sure. I think to me, adding that question is really not necessary, because to me, you should be interviewing him yourself, because he or she is a representation of what you are providing to the commission.
Yeah.
And understanding that, going back to, as we just heard tonight, what we feel is something that's a predicator to our future as a county, that this constitution, this review should take the same validity behind who you decide to pick before you. So I think the interviewing should be done by you all. The verification of what that looks like and make sure they follow within that should be done by us. And that can be done with the application process.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Mr. Counselor, before I go to Commissioner Johnson, I just wanted one point of clarification. You had mentioned that if somebody were to move, when you're talking about that, you're talking about moving from one district to the other, not just within.
Correct.
So if an individual moves within the district,
Correct.
within their Eastern District, they move to another place in the Eastern District, they would be qualified.
Correct.
All right, I wanted to clarify just so we were going on the same page.
And one other process, maybe comment to follow up on Commissioner Wagner. Obviously, this is a public process. We may get individuals who just want to apply, and that's absolutely fine. That's great. I think from my perspective, the best approach would be anybody who applies, each of you gets every one of those. So if we get 5 applicants that are kind of off the streets, so to speak, you each get all 5 in case you see something there. Hey, I didn't think about this, or this person sounds like they bring a real good background. It might be a good fit. That seems to me to be a fair process. Is everybody okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Commissioner Johnson, thank you for your patience.
Just for clarification, so we're each going to pick someone from our own district that we represent?
Not necessarily. That would be my preference.
That'd make it easier, so
if
we
you
have the
go
right
outside
numbers.
of your district, somebody on the other district has
Yeah.
got to go outside. There's got to be at least three.
Okay.
Or the presiding commissioner can
So I
fix any
plan on
imbalances.
picking in my district. I think if everybody does that, would be good. Then the second thing is party affiliation is not an issue.
It is
in
not.
this, right?
It is not.
Thanks.
Further questions or comments from any other commissioners?
Hey, how about that? Us at-large people, how do we pick?
We can pick anybody.
It's where you live. No, you're
So
in
we'd be
district.
Western?
You are Western or Eastern District at large, so you have a district.
I already got my guy picked anyways.
Okay, all right.
And wait a minute, I'm at large,
But you
so
live
I
in the
can.
Eastern, so you gotta pick Eastern. You're
I have
Eastern.
to pick Eastern?
Yes.
Even
No,
though my district is a whole county?
Your district's Eastern.
Huh?
Your district's Eastern.
Eastern at large.
At large means you're voted at large, you represent Eastern.
Yeah, no, I
Yes.
read the whole county.
No?
No, I do.
Yeah, my preference would be that
Eastern,
each
state.
6 of you pick one from your district, the presiding picks countywide, but you don't have to. I mean, we the whole body, You could all mix it up, but at the end of the day, we have to have three, at least three.
But the requirement is a minimum of 3 from each district. So to help with that, and I believe more than likely when the commissioner originally did that, was to have each commissioner pick based off your 7. So that's the key part.
Yeah,
So
that'd be the preference.
yeah.
And given the timeline that we're working under, that might be the most efficient way to look at it as well. Further questions or discussion?
So by the 27th, first shots at them, everybody good?
Go ahead, just go ahead and kind of give a recap of what you see, and we'll go for head nods to make sure everybody has, that you've got consensus from the commission. So go ahead and just outline it one more time so we can all hear it, and then I'll ask for whatever indications from the commission.
Okay, recap. We will provide you the one-pager along with your district map, and then a application that will be linked. Send that to each of you. Should be in your mailboxes Tuesday. You can start talking beforehand, but we want to make sure you knew about that beforehand, so it's more than welcome. The other portion of that is on the 27th, we ask that you provide at least 2 applications, A and B, preferably show what your A is and your B. We'll try to put that together for discussion on the 29th with final approval on the 5th of February.
Okay. Does everybody agree that that's the way we should proceed? And I can do head nods just to make sure everybody's good. Commissioner Withington?
Yeah, I said it was good
Okay.
earlier.
Yes, sir.
And I would just say, again, the 27th is what we would hope to be the deadline, but we would absolutely encourage you the sooner you can get them in, the more we can do our vetting on our end. So we'd love to have them, if you know, Commissioner Withington's got his person. If you know already, the sooner you get it to us, the sooner staff can start making sure they meet all the qualifications.
When would you anticipate having the application on a process so that Commissioner Withington, for example, who has someone in mind, could direct them to that to go ahead and make sure
Yes, we'll send that
paperwork's
to
in?
you Tuesday, what day is Tuesday?
20th.
20th.
20th, okay.
Yes.
So the 20th is the date we're looking at to be able to actually take our nominees and get them online and get the application process rolling. Okay, I think I got head nods all the way around on that, so if you feel you have the information and the consensus you need to proceed, we will go with that.
I think we're good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That concludes that discussion. Brings us to reports. Mr. Administrator?
Yes, enclosed, you have the auditor's cash basis monthly report from December of 2025. The information is within your package for any additional.
Very good. And that would bring us to administrator comments.
Yes, our next meeting is on the 22nd. No additional comments tonight. I will say one comment. We had out for the Go North campaign, artist call out for our 20-foot soccer ball that we're promoting, and we had about 22 respond to that. We also had the Go North campaign transportation RFP, and we had 2 respondents to that. And the other one is that in the near future, you have a update on what the Go North campaign looks like, including our 7 watch parties, as well as different advertisements. I bring that up because just yesterday, they mentioned that about 500 million respondents for potential World Cup tickets went out. People applied for that, which I keep getting asked, 500 million or 500,000? What I read and what I heard was 500 million. So just to kind of give you the idea of what that looks like regarding the World Cup. So that'd be it.
Okay. With that, that brings us to Commissioner comments. Commissioner Carpenter, do you have anything that you'd like to say?
Well, I'll just say I wished everybody a Happy New Year last week, and I still do, certainly. One of the things I mentioned a few times is my concern around our trend with regard to homicide rates here in the Northland, and I'm lament to share that once again we're off to a bad start in that category. Multiple Northland homicides this week. In most of previous years, the modal number for homicides per quarter in the Northland is 0. The average is about 1. Last year, first quarter, we had 12. We've already had several this year, and it's very early in the year. Additionally, they happen to be very close to where I live, so and Commissioner Wagner as well, so there's that aspect. Drove past one location on my way in today. So I guess I just observed that the trend has not improved, and it's going to be an ongoing mission to make sure the Northland has good public safety and that we don't be asleep at the wheel as this happens, and that we stay on top of it. And that is going to be up to each and every one of us. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Wagner. Hold on, there we go.
Thank you. So just jumping off the point of our colleague, Monday morning was very interesting in the Maple Woods Estates neighborhood. That is where I live, because 2 blocks away, Chris Wells was lying in the street. I walked over and saw him covered. I won't speak to any other homicide that we've experienced up here, but I do want to make 2 what I hope are important points pertaining to this one. One was that the alleged individual, who I'm just using law speak to just throw out alleged, I know what happened. And I won't say too much because I know this is an ongoing, there's ongoing work going on by the prosecutor, and I don't want to taint anything. But what I will say is, as it has been somewhat reported, this was an issue and an individual who had an issue for a long, long time over multiple neighbors, and sometimes neighbors would move out, a new one would move in, and now they had the problem. And as I think it has been mentioned in some news reports, this individual had been visited a number of times. And for those folks Tuesday evening, and I was one of them, the 150 plus folks who showed up to light a candle for Chris Wells, many of us were talking about what led to that moment Monday morning and the frustration that everyone had, that with all of these times, all of these potential opportunities for interventions, the one intervention that was never done was to actually have someone see if there was something more going on with this individual who decided to pull out a gun to solve a problem, at least as he saw it. And I don't have the answer, and I'll also say that back when I was a city councilman in Kansas City, I was trying to deal with one of these issues and one of these problems, and it wasn't enough back in 2019. So I have a certain frustration because of that. I just want some conversation to happen, and I'm sorry that I kind of wish Representative Brown was still here, because I got plenty of ideas for him. And he is our state representative where we live, and he was Chris Wells' state representative. That there's got to be a better way to avoid a problem from getting out of hand than just waiting, as many of my neighbors would say, waiting for something bad to happen. And the cousin of Chris Wells at this event on Tuesday evening basically pointed out to the neighborhood that he took the bullet that you didn't have to, literally said that. And he was right, and it never should have come to that. Lastly, to me, one of the other lessons is just simply this. I live 2 blocks away from Chris Wells. I did not know him very well. I probably met him at one of our summer cookouts, although the last one was in October, so fall cookouts. And so I do not have that personal connection to him, but what I do have, and I think the lesson for all of us is, 1, be a good neighbor. 2, get to know your neighbor. Be there with them so they don't have to take the bullet for you. My heart goes out to Chris's family. I know that there are ways that you can support that family. If you go to the Maple Woods Estates Facebook page, if anyone is interested, there's an opportunity for them to support the family financially if they choose to. But this goes beyond senseless and dumb and all of that, but as it is senseless and dumb, then at least let's try to take at least a couple of lessons so that maybe we can avoid this happening to someone else. Thanks.
Commissioner Lawson?
Whoa. Not much to be said after that. That was pretty upsetting when I heard it. And the thing that just kept coming back to me was, why wasn't something done before now? You know, I know they had, I don't know if they call it a restraining order, order of protection, some kind of an order was there, but how do you enforce that? And how do you make something happen to protect this gentleman? I can't even imagine, you work your whole life to have a house, you move into a really nice neighborhood, and then you have to live with this kind of crap. That's why I live in the country. But, you know, you can know your neighbors, you can enjoy your neighbors, and watch. Now, what we do in because we're so far out, the one gentleman that lives close to me, if we go out of town or something, he watches to make sure nobody comes around the house. We do the same for him. But that's about all, you know, that we do out there. But in town, you know, it's just a sad state of affairs. A young kid, 4 kids, and now his wife's struggling and face all this crap that she's facing. So I'm thankful that we've got the prosecutor that we've got, because he did make the statement something was going to happen, and I think he will take care of that. That's one of the blessings we've got. I wish maybe it'd been better if it was in the county and the sheriff could have handled it. We've got a great sheriff, we've got a great, but that still doesn't stop this kind of crap from happening. And what a shame. Our county, it used to be the safest county around the area. And now we're seeing more and more and more. Not because we don't have good law enforcement, we do. Not because we don't have a prosecutor that really goes after them, we do. But nevertheless, it's just unfortunately to say this, it's just the times. It's a mean environment, and I pray that someday we can get that squared away and things will change, but I always see that it's just going to keep getting worse. So my prayers to the family, and hopefully we can not see something like this happen again.
Commissioner Withington.
Yeah, I just want to send my condolences to Chris Wells' family too. Chris and I graduated high school together, class of 2002. Chris had reached out to me several times about this neighbor, looking for help with Kansas City. Put him in touch with a lot of people in Kansas City. And then he reached out to me day after Christmas, and Wes Rogers, city councilman, had actually gone and knocked on this guy's door. And then Chris reached out to me on Monday, and I thought maybe something good was gonna happen based on that Saturday. And then I thought something good was probably gonna happen, and then Monday happened, so. So just been thinking about Chris and his family all week.
Does that conclude your remarks, sir? Thank you. Something that struck me as I was listening to the comments, and that is certainly, first off, when I did the invocation, it was rather impromptu, and I wish I could have been more eloquent and perhaps more enlightened as to how we make sense of these kinds of these events. And I don't know that there is sense to be made. But what struck me was how many people at this table had some personal connection to the individual. And it's something that we need to be dealing with, because there is a distinct aspect of this that is, but for the grace of God. That could be somebody at this table. I think it starts with being neighborly. There are some people it's not going to work with. One of the things before these two incidences that was a stark contrast was our neighbor came over, and she wanted to borrow a couple of eggs to make brownies. Pretty ordinary thing. It's not as common now as it was in past days. I felt very hopeful about that. I read more into that than just somebody needing a couple eggs. She then brought us back some brownies that she had made from that. And it was like, golly, this is the way I remember how things were. And then the grim reality of these events comes roaring into our consciousness. And about the only thing I can think to do is we need to be leading kinder lives. We need to be reaching out to each other. And thank God we have law enforcement, and I'm thinking specifically of our sheriff's office, that are embracing modern techniques of how do you deal with people who clearly have very deep-seated emotional issues that would bring them to this kind of an action. So I think this is certainly a time for prayerful thoughts, and certainly keeping the family and friends and the neighborhood in our prayers, because this is the kind of thing that traumatizes an entire neighborhood. If it happens on your street or around the block, it is something that affects us all. And I think going through that experience is certainly something that is life-changing. And I don't mean to be bringing up another subject, but last month an individual named Pete Hall passed away. Pete Hall was a TIF commissioner, and he was an outstanding member of the Clay County and Northland community, and particularly in Gladstone. He unfortunately passed away. Pete was the kind of gentleman that you didn't know how much he did or about his valor. And I've known him for a pretty fair number of years, and it took a while before I really understood the depth of his accomplishments. And I'm just going to cite one thing here. The man had 3 Silver Stars, 4 Purple Hearts, 1 Bronze Star, and any number of other service awards that were conferred upon him and that he had earned through military service to this country. And while maybe less physically hazardous, that service did not stop for his entire life. He is someone that I valued as a friend, and someone that I think anybody who knew him understood what a quality gentleman he was. He was a gentleman, and yet he was tough, and he possessed a quality, the combination of qualities you seldom see, and that is a toughness to do the right thing, and yet he was gentle. I don't know that I'd seen him very frequently angry. Occasionally we all do, but he was someone that was very much what we would all like to be, and he embodied that. Pete's death created a vacancy under in the TIF Commission, so and I think the commission already knows this has been put out there, but I have requested, and Scott Wagner has agreed to fill the vacancy, and that will commence the January 16th. And I think that Scott is a great choice. I think he is someone who will be able to really fill that very large role that Pete played, and that he is his performance and his duties are going to, I think, be quite outstanding, and I have every confidence that he will be able to do that. Thank you, Scott, for taking up that burden. Then my final point is I would also like to inform the commission that I have resigned from the Clay County Planning and Zoning Commission, and that resignation was submitted to the chair of that body. That would take effect January 22, 2026, which is, of course, our next meeting date. I appreciate the leadership of Chairman Beggs and the other members that serve on that commission. It is certainly one of the working commissions. There's no way around that. It's not a board that just sits on its hands. They get in very deeply. And I look forward to continuing my positive relationships in my capacity as presiding commissioner with that group. So that obviously creates a vacancy, and I am asking the administrator to forward my nomination when I send it to him for Commissioner Lawson to fill that position on the board that I will be vacating, and then it be on the January 22 agenda, assuming it's practical. But I would like to be able to seamlessly end my service and begin hers, so that we have a consistent commission presence on that board. The thing is, what this illustrates, I think, is, because we've had some discussions about this kind of passing of the torch, whether it is between ourselves or with Commissioner Wagner taking the role that Pete Hall played. But this is the kind of cooperation I think that our elected officials and our citizens rightly expect of their elected officials. And I think that we need to continue to perform in that manner. So hopefully this will help a couple of positions have an orderly transition to where we can continue serving the best interests of our citizens. With that, thank you very much. I almost lost my gavel up here in the clutter. We are adjourned. You're welcome.